Long ago, there lived a young man named Giguptunga from the Nimkai tribe of the Jiwaka clan in Jimi district, Jiwaka province, Papua New Guinea. He was the only sibling in his family and lived with other clan members deep in the jungle, practicing a nomadic lifestyle as hunters and gatherers. The small village where he lived was called Gigup, located near a small hill-like mountain named Malam. The name Giguptunga translates to the short fellow of Gigup in the Narak language, which is spoken by almost 11 council wards in Middle Jimi to this day. Giguptunga was known for his perfect physique and handsome appearance. He was a skilled hunter and gatherer. His clan, the Jiwaka, was known for its peaceful nature. They shared food, lived happily, and were friendly to neighboring clan members, strangers, newcomers, and visitors. This folklore was shared by Ezekiel Yambe, a modern direct descendant of the Giguptunga clan and tribe. Once upon a time, there was a drought that brought a long, dry season. The land was dusty and lifeless, with plants dried up from the lack of water and rainfall. To cope, people frequently traveled to the Jimi River and the Mo River to refresh themselves. They also fished in these rivers and hunted in the jungle daily for survival. Despite their efforts, the drought persisted. One afternoon, young Giguptunga decided to go hunting at night. As dusk fell and the cold set in, the moonlight from the eastern side of Mount Oipo illuminated the land, making Giguptunga wonder if he should venture out alone. He didn't tell anyone because, by custom, hunting and fishing trips had to be done in secret. It was believed that revealing one's plans would result in an unsuccessful hunt. Adhering to tradition, Giguptunga gathered his hunting weapons and silently left the quiet village. He walked several kilometers until he reached his desired hunting ground, a wilderness area known as Kindakumbi. There, he quietly sat on the forest floor, pausing to think about how to camouflage himself and use his spear to catch a cuscus or other meat-eating wild animals. After a moment, he hid beside a huge tree trunk and closely watched a pandanus tree where ripe fruits had fallen to the ground. These fruits were a favorite for bandicoots and cuscus. Giguptunga felt glad, confident he would catch many animals in the noise-free jungle. Only the sounds of nature filled the air. Giguptunga sat quietly with his bow and arrow, ready to hunt. He focused intently, hoping to catch sight of any cuscus, bandicoots, or other wild animals. He waited, and waited and waited patiently, but nothing appeared. Time was slipping away. Mosquitoes bit him mercilessly, and the cold seeped into his bones. Frustrated, he questioned himself. I am the best hunter in my community. What is happening? Am I a stranger or foreigner here? I don't understand. Did I break any hunting traditions or customs, causing me to see nothing for hours? He found no fault in his actions. I am the original landowner here. This is my forest. Nature knows me. I've hunted here many times. How is this happening to me? Why is it like this? Giguptunga thought angrily. After all this, young Giguptunga decided to return home. He was exhausted, sleepy, and starving. He hadn't heard any noise from living creatures. Suddenly, he saw the shadow of two humans in the moonlight. Blinking his eyes, he looked carefully and confirmed they were indeed people. He hid in the darkness and watched closely. A beautiful young lady and her mother were giggling and laughing as they walked slowly toward him, busy collecting fallen fruits and nuts from the trees. He watched with interest as they came closer to his hiding spot. When they were within close range, he saw that the young lady was exceptionally beautiful. He fell in love with her at first sight, but was also afraid, his heart pounding, because he realized these women were not real humans. He feared he would die if he touched the girl or revealed himself. Conflicted, he didn't know whether to embrace the lady or let her go. Finally, he made up his mind and hugged the young girl tightly in his strong arms. The girl used her magical powers to transform into various dangerous wild animals, trying to frighten Giguptunga into releasing her. Despite her efforts, Giguptunga never gave up. He was brave and held on tightly, his muscular and energetic physique overpowering her attempts. Finally, the girl reverted to her original human form. Her mother then addressed Giguptunga, saying, "We are not real humans like you. We live in a different world where we do things differently. We are not alike in any way. We are what you call the Masalai or ghosts. The forests are our gardens, and the wild animals are the ones we domesticate. The caves, tree trunks, cliffs, and pools are our homes. At night, we conduct our business, while you do so during the day. During the day, we rest while you work. Everything we do is opposite to your way of life. Furthermore, I do not want your family, the real humans, to discriminate, criticize, or prejudice my daughter because she belongs to a different world. Therefore, I do not want my daughter to marry you. We are entirely different, and I don't believe this will work. It is like going against the law of nature. Everything you just said is true, and I understand. Giguptunga replied in a deep voice, looking into the eyes of the lady's mother. But I have truly fallen in love with your daughter. Her beauty captivated me from the moment I saw her tonight. Please allow me to marry her. I love her and will ensure nothing bad happens to her if she becomes my wife. The lady's mother observed him for a moment before speaking. It seems you truly love my daughter and wish to bring her into your home for marriage. But there is one condition. This condition is a vow among the three of us. If you break this vow in the future, my daughter will be taken back. She continued. The condition is this. If you and my daughter marry and later have domestic problems or arguments, you must never call her a ghost or masalai. If you say this, know that my daughter will be taken back immediately. Thank you very much, Giguptunga responded earnestly. Don't worry, I'll take good care of your daughter, I promise. I love her deeply and will always protect her no matter the circumstances. After the lengthy conversation, they reached an agreement. The girl's mother wrapped a ladybug in a leaf and gave it to her daughter as a keepsake. She instructed her daughter, "This ladybug must be kept somewhere safe, on the ceiling of your house, where the smoke escapes. If you stay with your husband and one day he breaks our vow, this ladybug will fly out from the ceiling. When that happens, you must follow it the next day." Giguptunga and his new bride said goodbye to her mother and set off for his village. The girl, worried about leaving her mother, cried as they departed, and her mother did the same. Upon arriving home, Giguptunga's family and clan welcomed his wife warmly. She felt embraced by their kindness and soon forgot her loneliness and homesickness. They celebrated Giguptunga's marriage with joy and festivity. Time passed, and Giguptunga's wife became pregnant and bore a son, who was named Giguptunga Jr. after his father. The baby boy looked exactly like his father. The couple worked hard and always had a surplus of food to share with their family and other clan members. Giguptunga also became a vibrant young leader in his community, earning respect and admiration for his leadership. One day, Giguptunga's wife went to the garden near the Jimi River, leaving their son, Giguptunga Jr., with his father. The garden was far from home, requiring hours to walk there and back, so it would take some time for her to return. Giguptunga stayed with his son, waiting for his wife's return. As the sun began to set and the mother still hadn't returned, the baby started crying for his mother to breastfeed him. Giguptunga tried his best to soothe his son, but the baby continued to cry. Frustrated and losing his temper as the day stretched into evening, Giguptunga snapped, "Son of a Masalai, don't cry so much. You've tired me out. I've been babysitting you all day, and I'm exhausted." In his anger, he forgot the vow he had made with his mother-in-law. At that moment, his wife returned and overheard his words. Though she pretended not to have heard anything wrong, inside, she was deeply troubled. She quietly prepared dinner, and they ate and slept without her showing any emotion. Despite her outward calm, she felt worried, downcast, and embarrassed by what her husband had said. She thought of leaving her husband and returning to her home. The next morning, very early, while her husband and son were still in bed, she woke up and dug out the gray ashes from the fire in the house. She wrapped the ashes carefully in a taro leaf and began pouring them little by little from the doorstep, marking her path into the jungle. The trail of ashes indicated every step she took and where she was going, so her husband could follow it to find her. She continued until she reached a huge pool in the jungle where the ashes ran out. She left the taro leaf on the side and sat on a stone nearby. This pool, called Dodolim, was her home. It was not a stagnant pool, but part of the running water of the mighty Jimi River. Giguptunga's wife sat on the stone for a few minutes, then dived into the pool, returning to her true home. As dawn broke, Guigaptunga and his son woke up and realized that the mother was missing. Guigaptunga searched everywhere but couldn't find her. Desperate, he called upon some strong village men to help him retrieve his wife. They followed the trail of ashes that Guigaptunga's wife had left behind. The men walked all the way until they reached the pool, Dodolimb. There, they found the taro leaf that she had used to wrap the ashes beside the pool. The men speculated that she might have jumped into the pool and decided that Guigaptunga should be sent into it to find her. To prepare for this, they cut a long cane and tied it to one of Guigaptunga's legs, holding the other end securely from above. They instructed him that if he wanted to return to the surface, he needed to move the cane as a signal to be pulled up. Guigaptunga agreed and jumped into the pool. In an instant, his surroundings changed. He no longer saw the water, but a stunningly beautiful place below. The world he encountered was far more enchanting than the human world. He saw vibrant houses, colorful flowers, and lush vegetation that adorned the area. He paused for a moment, gazing around in awe at the mesmerizing environment, taking in the extraordinary beauty of this hidden realm. Guigaptunga walked along a track leading to his wife's village, where he saw many houses. He was astonished by the stunning people. The men and boys were handsome and muscular, while the women and girls were beautiful. As a stranger, he approached them and inquired about his wife, expressing his desire to bring her back. While he spoke, his wife was called out of her house, and her family gathered to discuss whether she would return with him. Guigaptunga stated, "I've come here to take my wife back." However, his mother-in-law and the entire community disagreed. They explained, "Since you married our daughter, everything was good. We cherished your marriage and often visited you, though you couldn't see us. But do you understand your wrongdoing from yesterday? What did you say to your son when his mother wasn't home? We understand you were frustrated, but you broke the vow you made in the forest of Kindakumbi when you first met her and her mother. You referred to him as the son of a ghost or Masalai, didn't you?" Feeling guilty, Guigaptunga responded, "I sincerely apologize for the words I spoke. The baby cried all day, and I was overwhelmed and angry. Without realizing it, I spoke the wrong words. Please forgive me and give me a second chance. I promise I will take good care of your daughter when we return." His wife responded, "No, I cannot go with you. Regret comes too late. Although I love you, you have already broken the vow between us. My family and community refuse to let me leave, and if I disobey them, I will face severe consequences. Go back and care for our son until he grows up healthy and strong. Never refer to him as the son of a ghost or Masalai again. If you do, you will not see him." "You won't see me again because I'm not a real human anymore," Guigaptunga's wife said. "At night, I'll take care of our son, Guigaptunga Janiner, in my spiritual form, invisible to you. During the day, you will care for him. This is my final word. You may go by other options." With no, Atunga had to leave. Tears streamed down his face as he bid farewell to his wife. Suddenly, his vision shifted, and he found himself back in the real world. He was underwater and quickly moved the cane tied to his leg. His men pulled him out, but he was shocked and unconscious. Once he recovered, Guigaptunga recounted everything to the men. They returned home, and Guigaptunga remained alone with his son, Guigaptunga Janor, without remarrying. He continued to be recognized as the chief of his clan, Dukaka, and the Nimkai tribe. As time passed, Guigaptunga aged and died, leaving his leadership position to his son. Guigaptunga Janor led his people closely until he, too, reached old age and passed away. This folklore has been passed down from generation to generation through storytelling, preserving the tale to this day.